I never really cared much for TikTok, but after seeing this trend, among countless others which truly don't make any sense to me, I'd be happy if the whole thing was banned worldwide. Now, I'm aware some have been making the argument that they are simply trying to be educational and spread awareness about what happened to millions of people who perished in the Holocaust at the hands of the Third Reich. But the reality is there's a way to go about educating people when it comes to genocides, and a bunch of teenagers with shitty acting skills trying to educate while a Bruno Mars song is playing really ain't it. I'm gonna tell you guys all about this trend right now in InformOverload. What's happening, guys? Jared Bronstein with you here today, and as someone who actually had family lost during the Holocaust, well, as you can imagine, this one hits pretty close to home. That being said, I'll still do my very best to keep my personal beliefs out of this one, although I think it's already evident how I feel. Before we go any further, I wanted to give a quick shout out to our new channel, Top 10 Central Dark. We got the description right down below. I'll still be replying to some of your comments from another video to wrap this one up, but for now, let's get right back to the story and talk about this useless trend, because it's literally useless. Creators on TikTok have been jumping on a trend where they put on makeup to emulate bruising and burns while pretending they are in heaven, explaining how they died at a Nazi-run concentration camp. Now, as I previously mentioned, I had family who lost their lives during the Holocaust, and others who actually survived and started a new life for themselves after fleeing Nazi persecution. So as you can imagine, seeing a bunch of pre-pubescent teens trying out their makeup skills while pretending they know what it was actually like for the tens of millions affected by the Holocaust, which led to the death of about 6 million Jewish people, well, it just seems like a pretty stupid trend. Again, I know some were trying to make the argument that they were trying to educate, and to that I say go read a history book, or look it up online, because you really can't summarize what happened over the span of 4 years, give or take, from when the Holocaust first started until the end of the war in a 30-second clip. Aside from the fact that it's not only ignorant but incredibly disrespectful, I think it's also quite evident that the majority of people jumping on this trend are simply just trying to go viral. Which again, do you really want to be known for going viral by making a video portraying a Holocaust victim in heaven? I just genuinely don't understand the point. Diane Saltzman, who is the director of Survivor Affairs at the US Holocaust Museum, told Insider, I quote, "Imitating Holocaust experiences dishonors the memory of the victims, is offensive to survivors, and trivializes the history. The museum encourages everyone, especially the young people, to learn about the Holocaust and understand the lessons it holds for us today." But as you can imagine, people are split regarding this trend. A 15-year-old from Florida named Michaela said she made the video to raise awareness and share her ancestor's story. I quote, "I'm very motivated and captivated by the Holocaust and the history of World War II. I have ancestors who were in concentration camps, and I've actually met a few survivors from Auschwitz camps. I wanted to spread awareness and share out to everyone the reality behind the camps by sharing my Jewish grandmother's story." Taylor Hillman, a 21-year-old Jewish creator, posted her own version as well, explaining, I quote, "I personally feel like in the context of the Holocaust, videos about it should be carefully thought out. There are many young creators who range from about 12 to 16 that use the Holocaust trope for fame. They know it will get views and make them more popular, but most of the time they are not Jewish, and it feels as though they are mocking the actual victims of the Holocaust. I feel that's important that if someone is going to make a POV about Jewish-related topics or the Holocaust, it should be done by a Jewish person. Personally, I had family members that were put into concentration camps, so the topic was close to my heart. I tried to make my TikTok in a way that would not offend others in the Jewish community by not romanticizing it. Although their intention is simply to spread awareness, again, I don't see how that makes it okay. I appreciate the fact that Taylor, the 21-year-old I just quoted, said that she didn't try to romanticize the idea of the Holocaust, but even the claim that only Jewish people should create a POV video about Jewish-related topics still doesn't sit right with me. Aside from the fact that the Holocaust led to the death of approximately 11 million, with literally anyone who wouldn't follow the Nazi regime's footsteps being sent to death, it's also just not something that should be used as a trend at all. I agree that the majority of people who did this trend were simply trying to go viral and get views, and using something like the Holocaust to do so is pretty disgusting. But again, if you want to learn and educate, why not upload actual facts or photos or videos from the traumatizing event, or even a clip of a Holocaust survivor being interviewed? I understand the app is popular, so it's definitely a good opportunity to share information. But there's also a way to go about it. Putting on makeup and talking to the camera saying that you died in a gas chamber certainly isn't it. But maybe someone reiterating a story their ancestors told them, such as my grandfather having to spit on the food he would get just to ensure that someone else wouldn't steal it, will help people understand what life was actually like for some. Or my grandmother, who had both her parents and her sisters taken away from her and slaughtered when she was just a child, maybe about 5 years old. That's what it was like. But it seems this isn't a new trend at all, as back in April, people were literally doing the exact same thing. The only difference is the theme wasn't Holocaust based, but instead domestic victims. In an attempt to raise awareness, or so they said, creators would once again put on makeup, appearing to be beaten and bruised, claiming they were victims of a at the hands of their partner. As you can imagine, this didn't raise much awareness, but instead just left a lot of people upset with how ignorant people can really be. Now I want to hear your thoughts, as I'm sure we all have different opinions on this. I just feel no one is really trying to raise awareness, aside from maybe a select few, and people are just trying to get likes and views and go viral, while piggybacking on a tragedy such as the Holocaust. But let me know what you think down below. I'm going to reply to some of your comments now so I don't carry this anger around all day. So let's reply to some comments from the video, top 10 unproblematic YouTubers you should be following. Nandy McChee said this was needed. We need to support more of the unproblematic ones. I completely agree. If you guys want more positive news and stuff, then keep watching that video and liking it and let us know in the comments, because we would love to cover all the positive stuff. Our go-kart said, this is what y'all should be talking about instead of all the moron TikTokers or YouTubers y'all usually talk about. I just felt this comment was relevant with this video just because these TikTokers are morons, but I mean, we give you guys what you want to see and this is it. Melissa Sweem said, I read the title thinking it said, top 10 problematic YouTubers you shouldn't be following. I feel like we might have made that list before, but I'm happy we made a more positive one. And a lot of you guys actually left like a bunch of people saying we should make a part 2, so we can, because there was a lot that you guys were like, this person should be included, this person should be included. I mean, we can only include 10, it's a list of 10, so we can only include 10, so I feel like regardless of who we included or didn't include, there'd be others that we should, so maybe we'll make a part 2, let us know if you guys want a part 2. That's all for this one, guys. I've been your host, Jared Bronstein, and we'll see you guys soon.